Know how much that changes. I mean, I've watched Shadur in college. I've listened to him in the National Football League. That's who he is. A very, almost he's arrogant but confident and humble at the same time. Always talks about his faith. That's what he does. That's who he is. It's different. It's different for a lot of us to see that. He's not the stereotypical get up there, talk like the head coaches talk. It's different. But get used to different. As long as they do give him a plan to succeed, like I saw last week. I mean, there was a lot behind the line of scrimmage. A lot. I mean, it goes about 5 yards down the field. That's the way it should start for a rookie. I'm not holding him to any standard. I told you guys last week, no matter what happens, I'm taking that first start with a grain of salt in terms of going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's just see how he does in situations. He passed a lot of tests for me from what I saw, but yes, it is different listening to him and how he speaks, but still, that's just who Shedeur is.
We need to discuss what happened in Cleveland, football fans, because if you weren't watching Sunday, you missed one of the most important events of the 2025 NFL season. It wasn't just another game between two struggling teams vying for a spot in the draft that took place on that field. This was a declaration. This served as confirmation. At this point, a young quarterback who had been treated with contempt, ignored, and undervalued by almost every team in the league took a stand and declared, "Enough is enough." The fifth-round selection that no one desired was Shedeur Sanders. Kevin Stefanski didn't even want the quarterback on his team. The young man just became the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to achieve something genuinely remarkable after enduring 143 painful picks on draft night before hearing his name called. He had more than just a strong game. His performance was not merely good. Throughout the 2025 season, he had the best game of any rookie quarterback. And he accomplished this while playing for a team that had 3 victories and 10 defeats and seemed determined to find creative ways to lose football games. The irony is nearly too flawless to be true. In 2024, this was supposed to be the ideal college football matchup, but it never materialized. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, the 144th pick and the first overall pick, square off. The quarterback that no one seemed to notice was playing against the quarterback that everyone wanted to see. The golden child and the forgotten man. On social media, cynical fans referred to it as the Failure Bowl, a mocking allusion to two teams that, as of Week 14, had only 5 wins between them. In 2026, 2 teams that selected first and second in the draft will probably be back at the top of the draft order. However, the expected failure was not met by those cynical fans. Instead, they saw history being written in real time. They witnessed a 5th-round pick totally shatter all theories about where he ought to have gone in the draft, and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that greatness doesn't wait for approval from scouts who made a mistake. Shedeur Sanders threw for 364 yards and 3 touchdowns. Despite being a quarterback, he was the team's top rusher after rushing for 29 yards and scoring another touchdown on the ground. He produced explosive plays totaling more than 200 yards, including 2 connections that were over 30 yards long and one that was only a few yards away from being a 60-yard touchdown bomb. His 364 passing yards are the 5th highest total the Browns have had in a single game since 2018. Only veteran quarterback Jameis Winston, who has been in the league for years, has thrown for more yards in a single game while wearing a Cleveland uniform since the 2024 season began. This is the historic part, though, the record-breaking accomplishment that has everyone in the NFL giddy with anticipation and incredulity. Out of all the rookie quarterbacks in the 2025 season, Shedeur Sanders just had the best single-game performance. Not a single person in his draft class, including the 1st and 2nd round picks, has even approached Shedeur's performance against the Tennessee Titans. Jackson Dart's game against Denver, in which he threw for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, was the 2nd-best statistical performance by a rookie quarterback this season. Sanders exceeded that total by almost 100 yards when his rushing yards are taken into account. Take a moment to consider that. The best game of any rookie quarterback in the league this season was just produced by a 5th-round pick, a quarterback who has had to compete for every snap he has received, watched 143 other players get selected before him, and been undermined by his own coaching staff at crucial times. And he achieved this while competing on the opposing sideline against the first overall pick at the same position. In this game, the difference between Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward couldn't have been more obvious or glaring. The player Tennessee traded valuable assets to move up and acquire, the unmissable prospect who was thought to be a sure thing was Ward, who was selected first overall. Since the Titans are totally committed to him regardless of performance, he currently holds a comfortable position on the depth chart and has nothing to prove. At best, his game was mediocre. Sanders, meanwhile, was battling for his career, trying to establish his place in this league and trying to defeat a head coach who seemed intent on undermining him at every opportunity. He then went out and created history. It had been years since this confrontation began. Because of Deion Sanders' well-known media presence and Ward's own active social media accounts, Sanders and Ward were continuously connected during the pre-draft phase. These two young quarterbacks spent a lot of time together at practices, postseason awards ceremonies, and other events where they were both acknowledged as top prospects. Prior to the draft, it was generally believed that Shadur would be selected in the first round, if not in the top 10, and that Ward would be selected with the first pick to Tennessee. Rather, Sanders would be forced to wait and wait and wait. 143 selections. There were more than 4 full draft rounds in which teams chose different quarterbacks, different positions, and even completely nonsensical selections. Knowing deep down that he was superior to what the league appeared to think of him, he sat there the entire time. One could feel the disrespect. There was no denying the snub. Additionally, Shedeur Sanders made every team that passed on him pay a heavy price for their monumental error on Sunday. The accomplishment is made even more remarkable and significant by the path that led to this historic performance. On November 16th, Sanders made his NFL debut against the Ravens, replacing starter Dillon Gabriel. In that short amount of time, he only completed 4 passes, hardly having an opportunity to show off his skills. He threw for 209 yards in his next game and 149 yards in the one after that. He amassed 358 yards and 2 touchdowns during those 2 games. Then, on Sunday, he dominated the team on the ground, gaining 364 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 29 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. Shadur combined to create roughly as much offensive output in one game as he had in his 2 prior starts combined, plus more. This was more than a small step forward. This was a huge advancement. This demonstrated that he is not only growing, but also showing up early. His throws weren't just outstanding statistically. Both technically and aesthetically, they were superb. Beautiful fade routes that showed great timing and touch. Downfield deep shots that demonstrated arm strength and accuracy. Intermediate routes that demonstrated his comprehension of timing and spacing principles. His underappreciated mobility and ability to extend plays beyond the offensive structure were demonstrated during scramble drills. The quarterback's performance was thorough, the kind of comprehensive game that scouts hope a prospect will exhibit. However, this prospect has already demonstrated that he belongs at the top level of football by competing against professional defenses in the NFL. Coach Prime Deion Sanders himself was present to observe the event. He made the trip to Cleveland and stood by while his son made history. Coach Prime was undoubtedly there, but they no longer get to enjoy those pre-game walks on the field as they did in Colorado. On the television broadcast, you could see him. His energy was palpable throughout the structure. He shared a very Coach Prime response on social media following the game, which went viral right away and sparked a ton of interaction on various platforms. This is made even more compelling by the father-son dynamic. He already an intriguing tale. In addition to having the physical skills, Deion Sanders raised a quarterback with the mental toughness, competitive spirit, and character strength required to excel at the top level of professional football. He prepared Shador for this kind of moment throughout his entire life. And instead of coaching from the sidelines, he was able to watch his son do something that no other rookie quarterback this season has done. That had to be one of the proudest moments of his life, regardless of the final score on the scoreboard. It's true that the Browns lost 31-29, even though Shador did everything a quarterback could do to win a football game. The defense, which was second in the NFL going into Week 14, abruptly lost its ability to stop the run. Tennessee maintained its lead for the majority of the game after Tony Pard hammered them for 184 rushing yards at an incredible 6.4 yards per carry. The special teams unit added a blocked punt to their ever-expanding highlight reel of lowlights, continuing their season-long tradition of making disastrous errors. Then, in the most crucial play of the game, Kevin Stefanski, in his infinite wisdom, chose to run another direct snap to the running back while Sanders was not even on the field, which resulted in a failed two-point conversion attempt that would have tied the game. It's the ultimate Cleveland Browns fandom. Losing despite your quarterback having the best season-long performance of any rookie quarterback due to terrible coaching choices, poor defense, and disastrous special teams play. The Browns are actually coming up with inventive new ways to lose football games at this point. If it weren't so heartbreaking and frustrating, it would almost be impressive. However, this is what everyone who is currently grieving over the loss is missing. What they don't realize about the broader picture. Winning games shouldn't be Cleveland's main goal at this point in the season. They are 10-3 years old. They are not vying for a spot in the playoffs. They won't make it to the postseason. Evaluation, development, and the resolution of the most significant question this franchise has faced in 30 years should be the sole focus of the final 4 games. Could Shedeur Sanders be the long-term solution to their 30-year quarterbacking dilemma? For 30 years, the Cleveland Browns have been looking for a franchise quarterback. To find that one player who can be the franchise's face and guide them to long-term success, they have traded valuable assets for them, signed them as free agents, drafted them high, and tried every tactic imaginable. More starting quarterbacks have been used by them since rejoining the league than most people can recall. It has served as a cemetery of dashed hopes and unrealized potential, a carousel of unsuccessful experiments, and a revolving door of disappointment. Even though it was the most improbable and indirect way possible, they might have finally found their guy in the 5th round, a player they didn't really want. This year, a developmental project was not expected to play, a choice that was practically an afterthought. They didn't anticipate winning the lottery. However, he has risen to the occasion and done better than anyone could have hoped. Not merely performing well enough to earn a 5th-round pick, not merely performing admirably for a novice, playing effectively for a while. Complete halt. Demonstrating a level of performance that would be remarkable for a quarterback with years of experience, much less one who is just starting out in the professional ranks. During his post-game press conference, Kevin Stefanski had to deal with the media once more. Additionally, no one bothered to inquire as to whether Sanders would start the next week for the first time since he started getting consistent playing time. After a performance that broke records and generated almost 400 total yards, that question has finally been answered with certainty. He will begin next week, of course. How was he not able to? Stefanski claimed to have fought the entire game, as we had expected, which is an intriguing claim given that his in-game choices indicated he didn't trust nearly as much as that quote would suggest. Every young player will experience both good and bad times, as well as successes and learning opportunities. However, Stefanski acknowledged that some of the plays were truly exceptional, fantastic plays. That could be the century's biggest understatement. These weren't merely a few strong performances interspersed with a mediocre one. This was a performance that will never be forgotten. This season, no rookie quarterback has played a better game than this one. This was Shedeur Sanders telling every team in the league that he belongs, that he should have been chosen much higher, and that Cleveland needs to realize right away that they have something truly exceptional on their hands before they blow it like they have so many other chances. This game's immediate aftermath will be centered on the defeat, the what-ifs, and the annoyance at how a remarkable individual performance was wasted because the team as a whole didn't fulfill their duties. And that makes perfect sense. This game should have been won by the Browns. At home, they were having fun. They were given preference. Their quarterback was playing crazily. However, they managed to lose due to dubious coaching choices and errors that had nothing to do with Shadeur's performance. Zoom out, however, and look at the larger picture that is emerging here. For Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland, this game may be remembered as the turning point in his life. In addition to securing his spot in the starting lineup for the rest of this season, this performance might have guaranteed his job for the upcoming campaign and beyond. This could be the first significant step toward resolving the quarterback issue that has plagued this team for 30 years. Is Sanders the solution they've been longing for? Is he the franchise quarterback Cleveland has been searching for since joining the league again? The answer is becoming more and more clear every day after Sunday's historic performance. Yes, without a doubt, the talent is indisputable and cannot be overlooked. It's incredibly accurate. He has more mobility than most people realize. Everyone observing can clearly see the leadership. The clutch gene has been shown time and time again to be real. It has repeatedly demonstrated the capacity to recover from errors and make plays when it counts most. Whether the Browns organization, and especially Kevin Stefanski, will step aside and let Shadur be great is still up in the air. Will they stick with him going forward as the undisputed starter? Will they build the offense around his strong points and areas of expertise? Will they rely on him in pivotal moments rather than using him for illogical gimmick plays? Will they give him the weapons and security he needs to compete at the top level? Will they establish an atmosphere conducive to the growth and success of a young quarterback? Or will they keep sabotaging him at every opportunity? Whether this outstanding performance is a one-time anomaly or the start of something genuinely exceptional in Cleveland will depend on these questions. It's perfectly reasonable to wonder if Stefanski is the best coach to realize Shedur's enormous potential, given what we've seen from him this season. There is no question, however, that Shadur has the skill to succeed as a franchise quarterback in this league based on what we have seen of him. If the Cleveland Browns found their franchise quarterback in the one season when no one else in the league even considered evaluating that player, it would be the most Cleveland Browns thing ever. The answer they've been looking for all along was a fifth-round steal that no one wanted and that everyone wrote off as a reach that had to fight for every chance. It would be poetic justice. For all the years of suffering, it would be atonement. The greatest told the rest of the league that it would be the ultimate vindication. And for years to come, it would make all the teams that passed on Shedeur Sanders look foolish. Cam Ward was chosen first overall by Tennessee, all teams that selected a quarterback prior to the fifth round. Shadur wasn't worth a first, second, third, or fourth-round selection for any of the teams that assessed these prospects. For years to come, they will all have to explain how they overlooked a player who made history in just his third NFL start. By themselves, the numbers tell a powerful tale. Passing for 364 yards and 3 touchdowns, running for 29 yards and 1 touchdown. However, the full picture of what transpired on that field is not captured by raw statistics. They don't convey the poise he showed under duress in the pocket. His ball placement accuracy is not measured by them. They don't take into consideration the leadership traits he displayed. They fail to convey the admiration he is receiving from teammates such as Myles Garrett. In a league where this team has struggled with the quarterback position for 30 years, they fail to take into account the fact that he is achieving all of this while playing for a losing team with a coach who appears hesitant to fully commit to him. The circumstances and context are very important. On the surface, the historic numbers don't even begin to capture what Shedeur Sanders achieved on Sunday. For a rookie quarterback, he did more than just deliver the season's best performance. He performed it in the most terrible circumstances conceivable. Despite everything being against him, he managed to do it. He accomplished this while his special teams allowed a blocked punt and his defense gave up 184 rushing yards. He did it even though he was taken out of the game at crucial points for plays that had no strategic value at all. Because of his character, his extraordinary talent, his mental toughness, and his unwavering determination, he did it. And now all NFL players are aware of it. The secret is out. It is no longer possible to conceal or reject the truth. Shedeur Sanders is the real deal, the authentic article, and that fact can no longer be hidden by coaching sabotage, draft position, or pre-draft disrespect. This season's final 4 games are extremely important. This goes beyond simply playing pointless games on the schedule or finishing strong. Shador needs to build on this outstanding performance, keep improving, and demonstrate that he is not just the league's best rookie quarterback of 2025, but also has the potential to be among the best young quarterbacks in the league, regardless of draft class or ancestry. His goal is to solidify his position as the undisputed starter for 2026 and beyond. Building rapport with the receivers, learning the offense at NFL speed, and proving that Sunday's performance wasn't an anomaly, but rather the setting of a new benchmark are the goals here. The entire discourse in Cleveland will change significantly if Shedeur can continue to play at this level for the remaining 4 games. It will change from, can he be the guy? To, how do we build around our franchise quarterback? Uncertainty will give way to confidence. It will go from looking to discovering,
and that would be the ultimate confirmation for Shador, Coach Prime, who prepared and trained him, the scouts who had faith in him when others didn't, the fans who have stood by him, and everyone who realized that talent isn't determined by draft position. And no matter when his name was called, this young man was unique. The National Football League experienced an unprecedented event on Sunday. The best single-game performance of the season came from a 5th-round pick who outperformed all other rookie quarterbacks in his draft class. Compared to the first overall pick, the 144th overall pick performed better. The underappreciated talent turned into the star. They all looked foolish because of the child they passed on. And this is just the start of what is sure to be an extraordinary tale. The Browns must acknowledge their possessions. Instead of continuing to impede Shedeur Sanders' progress, get out of his way and construct around him. He will continue to create history in Cleveland for years to come if they make that commitment and give him the resources and support he requires. It looks like the 30-year quest for a franchise quarterback is coming to an end, and it will be due to a 5th-round selection that no one desired, but who has turned out to be precisely the player that everyone wishes they had chosen. Many plots will be remembered from the 2025 NFL season, but few will be as gripping as witnessing Shedeur Sanders methodically demonstrate that skill always wins out over draft position. It was the season's best rookie quarterback performance, with 364 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and 1 rushing touchdown. And he's only now beginning. A notice has been issued to the league. He has served as a wake-up call to every team that passed on him. The most exquisite irony of all may be that Cleveland chose their franchise quarterback by complete chance. You should hit the like button immediately if this historic performance excites you about what's to come. If you think Shedeur Sanders just proved he should have been a first-round pick all along, or if you think Cleveland finally found their guy after 30 years of searching. Tell me what you believe Shedeur will achieve in these final 4 games in the comments section below. Please let me know if you think the Browns will commit to him as their franchise quarterback, or if they will somehow blow this one, as they have done with so many other chances in their history. We'll be following every game of Shedeur's historic rookie season, so don't even consider leaving without subscribing and turning on those notifications. As this amazing journey progresses, you won't want to miss a second of it. We're seeing the beginning of something extraordinary. The rise of a star, and the acceptance of a young man who refused to let his fate be determined by his draft position. Every moment, every achievement, and every time he dispels the doubters are what we are here to record. Never forget this. Draft position is irrelevant to talent. Permission is not a prerequisite for greatness. Shedeur Sanders has just demonstrated both of those facts beyond a reasonable doubt. The rookie of the future is the one who was rejected in the 5th round. The best part is that we can all watch it happen live. History is being made here. This is the epitome of vindication. This is the result of combining talent, opportunity, and willpower. Greetings from the Shedeur Sanders era.